Welcome to my spoiler-filled review for Thunderbolts. We're going to talk all about everything here that I liked and did not like about the movie, and we're going to go into the plot, we're going to go into the third act, we're going to go into the big twist about what the asterisk actually means. The movie does answer that, and the mid and post-credit scenes, because there is plenty to talk about with the Thunderbolts. So I've already got a non-spoiler review up on the channel. If you have not seen this movie, click on over to the non-spoiler review. The spoiler review now is going to start, so I'll give you a second to go ahead and click off if you had autoplay, but we're going to get right into Thunderbolts. So, as I said, people have been saying that this movie is gonna save Marvel and this and that. I think it'll take a little bit more than that because now it's been years of fans being upset. However, the one thing I will report is that at least in my movie theater showing, and I saw it at 2 p.m. on a Thursday, which is not gonna be anywhere near the crowds they're gonna get Thursday night and Friday night, and over the weekend it'll be packed. But there were more people there. There were more people there than before. There were more people there. Not as much as Deadpool and Wolverine, I would say. But there were definitely more people there than any early showing I have been to, any matinee showing. So I thought the movie really was extremely well paced. They introduce Yelena, or reintroduce her. She's on a mission, right? She's working at the beginning of the film with Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, and I was thinking, okay, are they gonna slowly build to this breakdown? But no, in the first act, she discovers that Valentina wants her and a bunch of the other rejects, members of the Thunderbolts, killed. They all end up in that bunker together, and that's when they first meet Bob, who's part of the Sentry project. Now, I like how they handled Bob because he obviously got these powers, didn't quite know how to use them, had to learn during the episode how to use them. And I like how while that's going on simultaneously, there was like the whole political drama going on with Valentina being impeached. So and I like how I like that whole sequence. The one thing that surprised me is, my goodness, Taskmaster. Listen, I didn't like how they did Taskmaster and Black Widow either, but Taskmaster died in this scene, and that was it. That was it. I was not expecting that. I thought for sure that Taskmaster would be there all the way to the end, like as a Thunderbolt. But no, shot point blank range, gone. I don't know what to tell you. I don't really have an issue with it because, like I said, wasn't the most interesting character. But nevertheless, seeing her get blasted like that, definitely not on the list of things I was expecting. The Red Guardian story is pretty funny. I will say one thing. The fact that he happened to be driving the limo where Valentina was going over the plan to take out the Thunderbolts, that was a little bit contrived. It was almost like, of all the limos, it happens to be his, or not limo, the stretch, whatever that car is, the big, like station wagon thing he was driving. These things can sometimes take you out of the movie, but if we were to nitpick that, I feel like every movie would probably have that issue. And the fact that he found her in the desert. I mean, look, I said it in my non-spoiler, dude. Red Guardian was the real treat of this movie. David Harbour was tremendous as Red Guardian. This is phenomenal casting for the Black Widow movie, and I really hope that after we're done with Avengers Secret Wars, I hope that a version of the Thunderbolts is still around with David Harbour still playing Red Guardian, because his relationship with Yelena and with everybody else is really, really fun. And this movie made it like the centerpiece. Also, the scene in the desert with the where they're basically duking it out with the convoy. I loved it. Here comes, Bucky Barnes, which, he's doing his own thing. Now, Bucky Barnes in this movie, I think, could have done more. He was kind of taking a backseat to Yelena, but the reason why I don't have a problem with this is because he's been around going back to phase one. So they really needed to get us to appreciate the villains turning good in this movie. Everybody already loves Bucky. Like, dude, when I was in that movie theater when Infinity War happened and Bucky was snapped out of existence, I was tripping. Like, because I heard a lot of people in that audience be really upset that Bucky got snapped. So he's always had, a fan base. I think the Winter Soldier movie helped a lot. So it's okay. Like, it's okay that they focus on the newer characters than anybody else. I thought he was a little OP being able to capture them all, especially Ghost. That was a tiny bit, but again, he flipped the whole thing upside down, but I feel like these heroes have enough experience. I also like the fact that they really didn't have superpowers necessarily. You obviously had a couple of them, 3 of them that had the super soldier serum, so that kind of counts. And then you've also got, obviously, Sentry, which is like the Superman of Marvel, except in this movie, he really, really got stronger when it comes to the character of Void, which is his alter ego, his evil alter ego, excuse me. But Ghost, I guess you can count that as having powers. I mean, being able to phase through objects like... And I did like that this showed a different side of the character. I have not seen the Ghost show. I heard it wasn't as bad as people thought it was, so maybe I'll check it out. I mean, Vincent D'Onofrio's in it as Kingpin, so it can't be that bad, right? But, yeah, so the character maybe needed a little bit more screen time, but at that point, I'm kind of nitpicking. I'm not sure if it's really necessary. So when they go, I love the gag where they all break into the building, and then Valentina was like, I left the door unlocked for you to come in. Then there's that tense scene up in the Avengers Tower. I think that's actually the same room. I could be wrong, but I think that's the same room where Loki and Tony had that conversation where he's like, we can't save the Earth, we can damn sure avenge it. I am a god, we have a Hulk, or I have an army, we have a Hulk. I think it was that same scene. But my God, when we saw how powerful Sentry was, like I always knew he was powerful, although I'm not super familiar with the comic book run. I've seen him before, but I'm not super knowledgeable about him. He was even stronger than expected. He was an absolute menace. I mean, this guy is so strong. The only problem is that he has issues controlling it. And then whenever he uses his powers, he risks having the void return. But if he's focused and he knows how to use his power, I think this guy would make mincemeat, in my opinion, out of Captain Marvel. I mean, he would smoke her. And I don't know about Scarlet Witch, because she's got really incredibly powerful magic. If it's comic book Scarlet Witch, that's even more of a power scale duel. But yeah, man, he was so OP. And then when he's in the sky and people start disappearing, including innocent people. I mean, I thought they were dead. I didn't know they were going into this dream world, and I did sort of like how when you get too close to him, you enter this dream world that focuses on your trauma. And like I said in my non-spoiler review, The film does a phenomenal job in talking about loneliness, whether it be and there's a lot of it in here that's subtle. You know, Yelena's mad at Red Guardian because he didn't talk to her for a year and she felt abandoned. You know, Bucky doesn't have, OG Cap with him anymore, so he feels alone. U.S. Agent gets clowned in this movie for being a great value Captain America, and he lost his wife and kid, so he feels alone. You know, every character in this movie had this sort of degree of loneliness and depression, and that's what led them to coming together and needing each other, and ultimately, becoming friends and forming this team. And I really like that. Like I like that this movie explored that without making it too obvious. It wasn't like you had Yelena, and a lot of great scenes with Florence Pugh and Lewis Pullman. Like a lot, they had some of my favorite scenes because she's like telling him well, everything sucks, and then later in the film she ends up kind of going back on that when she realizes that she does have a family now with the Thunderbolts, and is kind of trying to bring Sentry back down because they did bond with him when they were trapped together. Like, they're not lifelong friends, but they can relate to him in that he's alone. A lot of his memories have been wiped. They do go into his traumatic childhood, and I like it because this felt very mature. I said it in my non-spoiler, but I didn't want to go too deep into it. I'll go into it now. This movie felt like Avengers 2012 or like a film from Phase 1. And that is not a bad thing. Obviously, Phase 3 is the best phase. I would say followed by Phase 1. Phase 1 was great. Short phase, but quality all the way through. And Phase 1, I think, did a great job developing the characters of Tony Stark, Captain America, and sort of making them the centerpiece and showing how they got to be who they were, the conflict they have with each other before they actually become the Avengers and lead everybody else. This movie was like that. Plus, we see Avengers Tower all over the place with a watchtower. They go there twice, I think, in this movie. We also have a conflict with an enemy in New York again. So I don't know if that was done on purpose to say, okay, we're going back to basics here and we're going to set everything in New York like what everybody remembers. But it wasn't just the aesthetics of being in New York and all that and the similarities with that in Avengers 2012, but it was also the fact that the characters and how they came together. It's different because in Avengers, they came together after Loki kills Phil Coulson. That's what brought them together, and they realized that they worked better together than separate. In this movie, it wasn't that. It was their commonalities. In Avengers, they both had similar goals, different methods to get there. In this film, it was all about their commonalities and their trauma. It's their trauma that brought them together, and that's a beautiful story. Now, speaking of the Avengers, this movie ended the same as that one did because we find out that this is the new Avengers. So the reason as to why the movie had an asterisk is because it wasn't going to stay being called Thunderbolts. I mean, okay, when this movie comes out on Blu-ray and 4K and it's on streaming, it's still going to be called Thunderbolt asterisk, but it's meant to be like a little clue that by the end of the movie, everything will change, and they are officially, at least from Valentina, the new Avengers. Now, I don't think they're going to stay being the new Avengers because Sam Wilson's also forming his Avengers team, which, that was addressed in the post-credit scene. I'll get to that in a minute. But Sam Wilson's doing that. The Hulk, Bruce Banner, is still out there. Captain Marvel's probably out in space somewhere. Thor is still alive. You got him. There's still characters from the original Avengers team. Hawkeye's still around somewhere. I know Jeremy Renner, or it was just revealed that Jeremy Renner did not want to come back to do season 2 because they didn't pay him what he wanted. So he might not come back ever. I mean, who knows? But he's out there. So there is enough to form another Avengers team, and maybe we'll see that in Doomsday. I think we will. But that was the big surprise at the end. And I loved how when they had the credits, the newspaper showed like, are these really the Avengers? And then you've got Red Guardian, who wants to be recognized, wants to be a celebrity. Quite the opposite of, how it is in the Fantastic Four universe that we saw in First Steps, the trailer, where everybody loves and appreciates the Fantastic Four. Like, that was cool. In this universe, things are a bit more nuanced, I guess you can say. The Thunderbolts in the comics is not this team at all. Like, the Thunderbolts at one time were led by Thunderbolt Ross, which is funny because he's also a Hulk now. He could end up being on one of these teams. But it's not the same at all. They could have called it a number of different things. It was funny that they named it after, like, what was it, like a kids soccer team or something. Also, I want to go into one last thing. The Yelena backstory with the little girl in the forest, that was dark, man. That was dark, yo. Like, that was unexpectedly dark. Also, I want to give a little shout out to Geraldine Visnathan, who played Mel. I've never seen this actress before. I don't know anything about her, but she had these really, really pretty eyes. Like, when you see the movie, there's something about her eyes. I don't know what it is, man, but she's got very, like, mesmerizing eyes. Like, every time I saw her on screen, I was like, what's up with this chick's eyes, yo? Like, they're just very nice, and that's a good thing. And that's good. Now, post-credit scene. Yes, the Fantastic Four are coming. It's 14 months later. This is obviously being done to set up Doomsday. And obviously the post-credit scene of Cap with the leader saying they're coming, that could also be a reference to Fantastic Four, because the Fantastic Four are on their way. But of course, this post-credit scene was like sort of like a teaser telling you that you have to go see that Fantastic Four movie to see how the ship is going to be coming into 616. So I like that a lot. And I like that, like, we know that's going to happen. Like, we know it's inevitable they're going to meet. But how they get there is the story of Fantastic Four First Steps. And this was good because this was a throwback to what the old post-credit scenes were. Phase 4 and Phase 5 were so damn messy with their post-credit scenes, opening up 15 different plot threads and closing only a few of them. I mean, we've still got the Blade stuff out there. We've still got the stuff with Thanos' brother. I don't know if they're ever even going back to that. Like, they may never go back to that. I know that the 10 Rings, like the teaser from the Shang-Chi movie, was supposed to be when Kang was still around, because the 10 Rings are supposed to be an artifact that Kang uses to control time and stuff like that. And I don't know if that's being kept or if they're just going to forget about it. Like, there's a ton. One thing I will tell you is it just me, or did they completely forget about Secret Invasion? Like, Secret Invasion has not, I know it wasn't a good show, but it has not been referenced in any film. And those events, it's almost like they didn't happen. And I know this show was not well received, but I mean, this show references multiple MCU Disney Plus shows and previous movies, but Secret Invasion is like non-existent. I don't care that much, to be honest, but you've got like a super powerful character in that show that could have maybe given Sentry a challenge, maybe not. You know what I mean? And they're nowhere to be found. So I don't know if it's going to be an event. I have no idea. I think they may just want to move on from that, pretend like it never happened. So good movie. Like I said, good movie. It felt like Phase 1. It felt refocused. And not a perfect film, but the 2-hour and 6-minute runtime, it did the best it could. And I really enjoyed it. And it felt like something from Phase 1. That's what it felt like. Where they're trying to just it felt like the 2012 Avengers movie. They're trying to reestablish a new team. different people who have issues. They're at odds, but they do come together. So that is it. What did you think about Thunderbolts asterisk the new Avengers? Please let me know in the comments. Take care, you guys. More videos coming this weekend. See you soon.